Hello, and welcome to the April edition of the Habitat Home Show. Today's show features Norm Miozzi, our Director of Operations, who will be describing to us the selection process as well as the construction process on our Habitat homes. Our volunteer spotlight today will be with Laura Moore, who is a very dedicated volunteer on a couple committees, as well as a huge asset to us when it comes to getting in-kind services and labor as well as materials for our job sites. We'll be featuring a couple items in the Restore again, including this month we have all new items actually to feature, brand new, not just gently used. And we'll be looking at the 213 Edison Street and seeing how the progress has been going on with that lately. Additionally, our final segment will be everybody's favorite, Norm's Know-How. Well, Norm will be joining me again to talk about some amazing plumbing tips. And those are his words, actually. So we're going to begin the episode with a short interview with Norm Miozzi, our Director of Operations. So welcome, Norm. Welcome back to the Habitat Home Show.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yes, we enjoy having you. I think not only your Norm's Know-How, but this might be the second time I think you've been here in the interview process, or is this your first interview?
First interview. We were part of, I think, the initial show, but yeah, first interview.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. Well, tell me, today's episode, we want to kind of focus on site selection and construction. Tell me how the site selection works for Habitat.
Well, I have a committee of volunteers that works with me, and what we do is we evaluate, of course, empty building lots, as well as properties for renovation. Most of the properties that we actually look at are donated properties, many of them just from private owners, but we also have partnerships with some of the municipalities in town, of course, the city of Dayton, as well as city of West Carrollton, the city of Kettering, city of Trotwood. So what happens is they have a property that may be vacant, foreclosed on, abandoned, and then they contact us, and I take the information and get it out to my committee, where one of the committee members actually evaluates the property to see if it'll fit into our program.
Okay. So you mentioned all the municipalities, and those are both in Montgomery and Greene County.
Absolutely.
And so once we have those properties as Habitat, how does that fit into the overall Habitat program? How does that benefit the partner family in the end?
Well, what we do is we try to keep an inventory of properties, and so in the evaluation process, what we do is we look for areas where, of course, we look at the schools, we look at the neighboring properties to make sure that, and look at amenities around, make sure that it's close to shopping, transportation, and that, so that when one of our families is ready to select a site, we actually can, basically, we give them a book and say, here are the properties that are available, and then from that, they take that and to see what area, fits them best and fits their needs the best.
Excellent. I guess, so it's giving them the opportunity, like a normal homeowner, to pick the best site that's available.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So before they buy the house, or since they are buying the house, they can at least choose out of our selection what works best for them then.
Right.
Excellent. That's very cool. What are you mentioned a couple of the criteria. Are there other criteria that you look at for the sites?
There are. Of course, we have to evaluate any property for renovation, just to make sure that it's structurally sound. We also have to, of course, be cautious or aware, or at least aware of the cost that it would take to renovate. Typically on our renovations, we try to get a renovated home as close to a new home, let's say within reason. So normally what that means is we'll replace heating and air conditioning equipment as well as plumbing equipment. 9 times out of 10 we're replacing all the plumbing that we can get to. Electrical systems are all upgraded and updated. Panel service pipes, service panels, entrance cables, and that are redone so that when our family moves into a renovated home, their expenses would be limited to, let's say, hopefully just minor expenses, like anybody moving into one of our new homes. New properties, of course, we want to make sure that they are buildable, that they also will accommodate one of our plans. You know, same kind of thing. Like any new property, you want to make sure that the house fits the neighborhood. So we try to look at the surrounding architecture. And one of the common misconceptions, you know, is that our houses kind of look like they're all the same. And anybody who's seen one of our houses lately knows that that's not the case. We actually changed the front architecture to make them fit the neighborhoods. We have, like I say, different elevations for different neighborhoods, so that when you drive down the street, most people go, "That's the Habitat house," because it does really look great. So.
Well, so how many? I know we have a few different models that we kind of base everything off of. Different floor plans, maybe, I guess. How many models do we have?
I think right now we have about 9.
Okay.
Right, and they're 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, and then what we do is based on our family selection criteria. We then will place, you know, depending on the size of the family, we determine which 3-bedroom might fit better in certain neighborhoods, or 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom if necessary.
Gotcha. And are they all 1-story, or certain? There's certain restrictions, or not necessarily restrictions, but parameters that you have to work with? Do they become 2-story at some point?
They do. Matter of fact, yeah, we have 2-story plans in some areas of town, especially when we go into neighborhoods like one that we're building in West Carrollton, or some areas, of course, of Montgomery County. If all the neighboring houses are 2 stories, we're going to build a 2-story in there. And same thing, it works in reverse. If they're all single stories, we're not going to put a 2-story home in an area like that, because same thing, we want the houses to complement and enhance the neighborhood, you know, rather than be the one that that doesn't fit.
So, and that ties in. Can you tell me about how the house is priced for the partner family then, as it sits in the neighborhood? So once it's built, how do we assign the value to it, to them, for the mortgage, I guess, would be the more particular part.
All right, well, just like any other new home purchase, we have a private appraisal done on the property. Of course, what they do is they evaluate it based on the comparable home values and home sales in the neighborhood. You know, our goal is to actually to increase the value of the neighborhood or the surrounding properties. We build Energy Star certified homes. They're really built well. We use 2x6 exterior walls, all kinds of high efficient equipment inside. And so typically, like I say, that's what we actually see as our homes appraise for probably many times on the higher end of the surrounding properties.
Cool. So, and you mentioned the energy efficiency. How does that benefit the partner families as they pay off their mortgage, as they grow into their house?
Sure. So the benefit is that our homes, which again we certify them, we actually have a rater come out and do testing on the house. And typically the ones we're building right now are anywhere from, let's say, 35 to about 48% more efficient than the average new home that's built today. What that translates to is that their energy bills, so Vectren or DP&L, are usually about 30 to 40% less than a comparable new house, which is really about a 50% savings probably compared to the neighbors around them. So more disposable income. Our goal is to, of course, make it more affordable for the families, because we want our families to succeed, and prosper.
So that's another piece, or it's one way the construction helps reverse the cycle of poverty for our partner families, huh?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And thinking of the construction, volunteers do this. How does that work? I think a lot of people, when I talk to them, they're like, I don't know how to build anything. I can't probably volunteer. How does that work on the job site?
Okay. So one of the things we say is we don't care what kind of experience our volunteers have, as long as they come out willing to work. We want them to go home tired and dirty. The way it works is I have very experienced site leaders that are out on the job site every day, and they know how to do just about anything that's out there. So when we have a volunteer that doesn't know, like I say, which side of the hammer to use, or of course it's more complicated than that, but we are happy to teach. We have all the tools that are needed. all the safety equipment that's needed, so that when the job is done, my guys are making sure that that it's done properly. And like I say, I'm very proud of the homes that we do build. Like I say, I would stack them against any commercial builder out there, and I don't think anybody could say that one was done by a volunteer and that this one was done by subcontractors. As a matter of fact, I think the volunteers do a better job because they want to do it right. So I think that's a benefit that we have.
And they'll put some extra nails into the framing. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. They're not concerned about how long it takes. They just want to do it right. So it's a good thing.
Now, volunteers can't do everything, and that's kind of mandated by the municipalities, or at least our region in some ways. What contracted services do you have?
So we contract out what I call, well, of course, our mechanical systems, so plumbing, electrical, and heating systems are done by a licensed contractor. And that's of course for the benefit of our families, as well as of course many municipalities require that where we build. Also what I call critical parts of construction. So our foundations, we actually contract those out. We want to make sure that they are level, plumb, square, and that the foundation, of course, that's what you build your house from. We want that done right. And then some other things we typically contract out would be the drywall finishing. It's just one of those where if you've ever done drywall work, you could have 3 days of people knowing what they're doing, and then 1 day of people that are just learning, and it takes you 3 more days to correct that 1 day. So we've decided we want the house to look great, so we contract that out. The majority of the rest of it we can do with volunteers.
Excellent. So that also provides another way, and this is me being biased as the development person, for people to get involved, right, or donate to Habitat.
Sure.
And so if you're a licensed electrician, HVAC, plumber, or you do drywall finishing or concrete work, we can actually accept donations of services and labor and materials in those realms for it, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a huge part of how we do what we do. We have many different contractors who will offer up their services, their time, sometimes even materials that they have. Sometimes if you imagine, other contractors may have bought a house full of, let's just say, light fixtures that somebody changed their mind on, and they're just sitting there. Well, we're a perfect recipient for that. We, of course, it really benefits us because that allows our development department to take funding from this job and move it somewhere else so that we can hopefully serve another family or more families. And yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're always looking for donations, of course. Yeah.
So if you would like to donate services, material, or labor of any sorts, please contact us via our website at www.daytonhabitat.org, or give us a call at 937-586-0860. Well, thank you very much, Norm. We appreciate you being here and telling us a little bit more about the construction and how you find the spaces or the lots to construct in. So thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
All right, thanks for having me, Brad.
Awesome. Next up, we're going to speak with Laura Moore, and we'll have our volunteer coordinator, Ashley Reeves, interviewing her.
Good afternoon, and welcome to our April edition of the Volunteer Spotlight. My name is Ashley Reeves, and I'm the Volunteer Services Coordinator, and today I am joined by Laura Moore. So thank you for being here today. You are one of our previous board members, a current member of our Field Operations Committee, so thank you so much for being here today.
No problem, Ashley.
We appreciate you being here with us. Today we're actually going to be focusing on your current project, which is our 2016 Women Build, something that we have vamped up again for this year. So first off, tell us what Women Build is.
Ashley, Women Build is a project that started back in 1991 with a group of women from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Habitat International approved the Women Build project probably in 1998, and so it opened it up to all affiliates. And so our affiliates started the program, I believe, back in 2000.
Okay.
And I came on board in 2001 with the Women Build project. But it basically empowers women, volunteers, to teach them how to build houses, and to know that they can be on the site and not feel inadequate, because there's a lot of women who don't have all the skill sets in construction, but they can feel like they can be part of something, and it's really rewarding. It's a great experience. It's something they'll never forget, even if they're just there for 4 hours. It's just amazing what women can do, out on the job site.
Absolutely. I know when I'm out in the community, that's something I get a lot of buzz about. A lot of women come up to me and they're very passionate about that. They're really excited about something like that they have the opportunity to come onto site and work alongside women and work towards a home for a single mother and her children. So, but what kind, so you've been with Women Build since 2001, what kind of drew you to the Women Build initiative?
Well, I was approached by a board member back in 2001, Charles Sims and his wife Ann Sims, who started the first Women Build here in the area. And they wanted another woman to chair the thing, and so they approached me. And I was kind of hesitant because I have never been involved with Habitat. And I didn't think I didn't have the hands-on construction skills, so I'm thinking, I don't know what I can participate in this. But I said, I'll give it a try. So I went to a construction site one day, and I was amazed because they showed me how to use power tools and how to properly use a hammer, hammer or nail. And it was really empowering to know that, wow, I can really do this. And so then I realized that it didn't matter, what age you were, what skill set you had, that any woman could work on a job site, because there are so many different aspects of building a house that, we need people, to put walls up, but to put, windows in, or even just painting or sanding drywall, caulking. I mean, there's things for everybody to do. And that's what amazed me, that a group of women could change a community, and and they could feel accomplished. I know on my first house, afterwards, I told everybody, all the women, turn around and look what you've done. You were out of your comfort zone coming in here, and now look what you have accomplished. So it's really amazing. That's what I guess brings me doing this every year, is because I see what we can do, and I see the families that we serve. They are so happy when we're there, and they're out there with us, along with us, learning it too. And we know that we're building decent, affordable housing for these families. We're addressing the issues, us women.
Absolutely.
And that's what's really neat about the project.
I agree. It's completely empowering, inspiring for women to really get out there and feel that they can work on a specific project and be able. I think that's the greatest part about our volunteer program, is that we do have those build site leaders that are out there to help instruct, and they're so willing to teach and to step-by-step instructions for all of our volunteers, so that they feel comfortable and they feel accomplished for the day on what they were able to, what project they were able to finish for the day. So I think that is really great, and I know that happens in Women Build as well. So that is wonderful. So back to Women Build. Are there any specific goals for the Women Build initiative that are different from our other build sites, initiatives? Well,
the main one with both initiatives, it's getting volunteers. But we would like to stress to getting, all women to volunteer on the build. We'll never have 100% women, but, we'd like to strive for 50 or 60%, because it is a camaraderie between women. And, like I said, we need awareness out there too, because like with myself, I wasn't aware of what can be done through Habitat, and if I wasn't approached, maybe I still wouldn't be involved. So I like to get the awareness out, market it more, that we do need women, just not on this build, but on all builds. And then, of course, with us, we would like to get women-owned businesses to participate on the build and to fund the project, because we're constantly trying to keep our funding going so that we can continue to do a Women Build project every year. That's our goal, that this project will go on, because through national, they have their National Build Week for Women Build, which is always centers around Mother's Day.
Okay.
So, and again, we will be doing ours around Mother's Day this year.
Absolutely. So. I know May 6th and 7th is our kickoff day. So we're looking for women to come out and help out at the Women Build kickoff. So can you tell me a little bit about the family that the 2016 Women Build homeowner for this year?
Yeah, her name's Kimberly Shepard, and she has 3 children. Okay. And she's worked very hard, and I know that she's done everything she can in the program, which is doing classes and her hours on the site, on different sites. But she's worked very hard, and she also, wants to be in this new area, because where she lives now, it's a high crime and drug activity. So her children, she wants to have safety for her children.
Absolutely.
They have to walk to school. You don't know what's in that environment, and these kids, they can't do any extracurricular activities in their school system. So she's looking forward for them going to a new school, and they can do sports and she can, you know, if she needs to leave them alone right after school, she's going to feel safe that they're going to be in a good neighborhood.
I really want to thank you for coming out and speaking with us today and being our volunteer spotlight for April. You do amazing work with us for Habitat, so we appreciate everything that you do with us, Laura.
Well, thank you, Ashley.
So now we'll take you back on an update for our 213 Edison Street build that is located in Dayton, Ohio, and it is being built for Remedios Lopez, who is a single mother of 6 children, who will be signing the mortgage, we expect sometime in June. We believe it'll be done by the beginning of the summer. So as you can see with the clips that are rolling now, we have exterior work wrapping up. The front and the back of the house have been sided. The roofing's done. All the blue board and the insulation on the exterior is set up. Volunteers are currently working on building the garage, which is something that we don't have on every Habitat house. It's kind of goes back to what Norm was saying about what the neighborhood looks like and the feel and the look of the neighborhood. As well as the windows have been installed for this house. If we go to the inside of the house in these next pictures, we have the interior mechanicals are close to being finished. There's a couple things to wrap up there. And once they're finished, they'll be inspected, and then we will be able to hang the drywall, finish the drywall, and put all the paint and everything together. So we're very close to wrapping this house up, literally in the exterior part, and then also figuratively inside as we finish up the drywall and all the interior work. It's great to see that the Edison Street build is going so well. Next up, we're going to do Norm's Know-How with Norm Miozzi again. He's going to give us some plumbing tips, some easy fixes you can do at home. So welcome back, Norm.
Thank you, Brad.
What do you got for us today?
Well, today I decided to talk about, as you mentioned, plumbing. And one of the things that happens is sometimes at your home you get a plumbing leak. I know one of the things I've experienced before is you get a plumbing leak that needs to be fixed as quickly as possible. So the traditional way to fix it would be, you cut the pipe, you put in a connection like this in between the two pieces of pipe, you get out your handy plumbing torch. Of course, there'd be a propane or something, butane attached to this. But basically, you get out your torch, you get out some flux, you get out some soldering wire, and then actually you sit there and you heat it up and you try to get it to solder and make the fix. I'm going to show you something that they've come out with that really makes the job simple, and they're called push fittings. There's a brand that's called Shark Bite, but there's a number of different ones. You can get them at Home Depot or at Lowe's or any hardware store. And the beauty of these is anytime you try to fix a plumbing pipe where there's water in it, water makes it hard to solder. And at least with every time I try to do it, it's always the spot that takes about an hour or so to drain the water out of. There's a couple different things. Plumbers have tricks to do that. But if there's water in that line, you'll never get a good solder joint. So the push fittings, this is one of them, all right? And they're actually made depending on the size of the copper that you're going to repair, all right? They're made to fit the copper. The beauty of them is, with this one, like I say, you put it together, you put your two pipe ends together, you have to clean this really well, you have to get it hot enough, you have to make sure there's no water in it, it won't work. All right, with the
You
push,
have to turn the water off too,
turn
right?
the water off, of course. Thank you, Brad. I always forget about turning the water off, turn the power off. But you do have to turn the water off. But with this kind of a fitting, it doesn't matter if there's water in it. It doesn't matter if there's water dripping. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at all. You literally just take the fitting, put it in here, push the fitting in, and then once you get the fitting into place, it will not come out.
Really?
There are, inside the fitting is basically like a washer that's barbed, and then once you put this into place, same thing, you shove that in there. That is a permanent guarantee, or permanent leakless, leak-free joint, and you're done.
Wow.
Turn the water back on, and you're ready to go. They make these fittings for, they're actually already installed on hose bibs, because a lot of times people let their hose bibs freeze. All you really do is you just cut off the old one, you make sure you have the right length, push it on, and it's done. I'm telling you, this is the greatest thing in the world. They also make these push fittings for things like with shutoff valves already attached to them. So underneath your sink, if your shutoff valve is bad, you just can cut your copper, push it on there, and you've got a new shutoff valve that's already ready to go.
And your shutoff valve is what you do, let's say you're not on one of those. That's what you use to turn off the water that's going through that pipe.
Correct.
If you're going to do something. And usually that can be found at what? Your hot water heater if it's a hot side.
Water heaters, underneath sinks, behind toilets, you know, there's all kinds of things. Now the push fittings like this are made to work with copper, and it's actually, the only thing it doesn't work with is what they call a soft copper or flexible copper. But M, K, or L copper these work with. They also work with what they call CPVC piping, as well as PEX, and those are the new plastic pipes. And it's really the same fitting. This same fitting will work with any of those 3 types of pipes. So
that's cool.
It's a great, easy, quick fix. If you ever have a leak, you just cut that bad part out and squish them back together, and that's it, you're done. Specific instructions are on the packages, but they're really easy to work with.
Excellent. Well, cool. Thank you so much. You're going to make many of us, I'm sure, look like plumbing geniuses in the future and probably save us some money versus nothing against the great plumbers that work in the area, but we can replace some of these things ourselves, right? So, and if you have any other tips you would like to see Norm address and Norm's know-how, please email Norm at normsknowhow@DaytonHabitat.org, which I think is up on your screen now. So, thank you again, Norm, for sharing this tip with us, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
Sure. Thank you, Brad.
Awesome. This month's Restore Focus, we get to actually showcase some of the brand new items we have. So please visit us at 115 West Riverview Avenue in Dayton, Ohio. If you're interested in donating your gently used or new items, please feel free to call 937-222-2296. Or you can now go online to our website at www.daytonhabitat.org/restore and sign up to have us come pick up your donation. You can schedule it all online, so we wanted to make it very easy for you. But this month we're looking at some new bathtubs that we were able to acquire through a donation from Marksant Labs and Lowe's. As well as we have some brand new KitchenAid and JennAir appliances, some great refrigerators, kind of wine beverage coolers, as well as some other knickknacks for your kitchen. The other thing we're looking at this month we have a great partnership with Morris Home Furnishing, and just this past Friday we got about 35 pieces of brand new furniture that Morris Home Furnishings was able to donate to us. So we have various chairs, some recliners, some even electric recliners, as well as various various couches, a wide variety of colors and styles for your couches. And then we have a few sectionals, as the one showed here, that were donated. So we very much so value our partnerships in the community with places and organizations such as Marksant and Morris Home Furnishings. Thinking of the Restore, we'd like to thank you for joining us today in this April edition of the Habitat Home Show. And we want you to get excited about our next month's edition, where we'll be actually following the truck. So if you go online and schedule a donation pickup, you'll kind of see what it looks like from the Restore's perspective, how they go out, pick up the donations made online, and bring them back to our Restore in order to be sold to support the builds in the community. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next month.